The Black Scholars Podcast.
BlackScholarsPublishing.com.
That we should get our own. And once we have our own, we're respected for the fact that we can create our own. And that's equality right there.
What you call an icon living? Start a record label, Miss Fish just did it. Whoa. Nylon cover 5 minutes. Whoa, we are too hot in the business. Whoa. About to make a movie independent.
Welcome back to the Black Scholars Podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous series. The previous series was on the America to Me documentary, available on Stars. Definitely had a great time analyzing that show, getting to know those characters intimately, and just learned so much in that process. And hopefully you guys feel the same. Now we're going to start a new series. This series actually is going to be based on my book, Becoming an Effective Black Educator. And I'm really hoping that you guys have already read the book. And if you haven't, that's cool, because guess what? I am going to be giving away free copies of the book. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I run a publishing company, and I also teach English. And I've been writing since I can remember. I've been reading and writing since I feel like I came out of the womb. And so I take writing very, very seriously. I take books very, very seriously. So in publishing this book, my motivation was very similar to my motivation I had when I started the podcast. I wanted to create something to help the black and brown educators who are, let's just be honest, let's be candid. We're overlooked, we're underrepresented, we're unappreciated. Oftentimes we are overworked and underpaid. Sometimes we get stigmatized falsely, inaccurately, sometimes even unethically, just being candid. So I feel like I'm a rebel at heart. So I'll always fight against the status quo, whatever the status quo may be. If the status quo doesn't include equality and equity for everyone, I am going to always fight against the status quo. So in education as a profession, there's not many of us, and there's a reason for that. A lot of us don't stay, and there's a reason for that. And those that do stay, many of us are unhappy. And so I know I'm one person and I can't fix everything, but I wrote this book much as I started this podcast to contribute my skills, my talents, my insight, my experiences, my observations, my intellect to this problem, to this conundrum. So as I'm going back through this book, as I'm gearing up for this series, first of all, I wrote the book much like Jerry Maguire wrote his manifesto. And this is indeed a manifesto. This is the first book I've published in the genre of education. Previous books I wrote, my first book was self-help, self-improvement, dealt with a lot of spiritual content as far as spirituality is concerned. The next two books are under a completely different name. It's under a pen name that I have, because those books were thrillers, romantic thrillers. and they're not for my students to find or read. So that's why I wrote those. But I love writing, period. But I definitely love writing fiction. And so this was my first attempt at writing an educational book, and it's a really good book. And I go through the editing process, content-wise, and mechanically, and even just from a what's the term I'm looking for? I guess a technical writing standpoint. As far as pagination is concerned, margins and whatnot. But I made a few errors in that book. I did. I had a few typos in there. I don't like it. Even though it's already been edited several times, somehow that still got missed. And when I published this book, I was so focused on creating the content and doing the things that I need to do that I advise even in this first chapter. And we're going to discuss this first chapter, which is called Don't Be Dusty. That I guess I needed maybe two more cycles of editing. Instead of saying started, past tense ed, I got one part of first chapter says starting. When I was mentioning the carpet cleaning franchise I invested in and opened up a carpet cleaning business, and I cringe. So I apologize for that. The other thing that sucks is that is 3 computers away, right? So that's either somewhere on the flash drive. It's not my iCloud drive. It's nowhere. So I don't even have the original documentation, the original script to fix. I would have to write it all over again from scratch. And for those that know me and follow the podcast, I am in the process of putting together a new book, which is going to focus on again, much of what this first chapter focused on, which is finances for teachers, for educators. And so with my effort going into that, I'm going to have to hire someone to fix those slight errors. So once that happens, look out for that. In the meanwhile, they're so subtle. You'll catch them because you're smart and you read a lot, but they're so subtle. I'm going to look past them. Hopefully you guys can look past them as well and appreciate the content. And the writing is really, really good as well, too. Of course it is. It's me. But, yeah, I missed those slight typos, if you will. But nonetheless, they will be fixed eventually after I finish this second book. And the second book was actually held up by, COVID-19. COVID-19 because, honestly, this has changed everything. Now, a lot of my lessons that I taught even in the first chapter, a lot of that content applies to the book I'm working on now in a larger scale and in more detail. But COVID-19, we have people now working from home. We have educators who have lost potential opportunities, including myself, as far as making additional income because of COVID-19. We're just all thankful for the most part to still be effective, to still be receiving our direct deposits, and to still have a job. But we can't rest on that. I won't rest on that. I feel like I'm hustling and thinking and strategizing and executing more now than ever. And the unfortunate death of Chadwick Boseman, who famous actor, played Howard University graduate who played Black Panther. And if anybody knows, I really connected with that character all the way back to the comics. My favorite superhero. He would be 1A, and I guess Iron Man would be 1B for me, and probably put Wolverine 1C. But Black Panther, I seen myself in Black Panther, and if you know anything about Black Panther, in the comics at least, at one point he was a teacher. A lot of people don't know that. He went to Harlem, went to New York, Hell's Kitchen, and he took over for Daredevil. Daredevil was on some type of spiritual sabbatical or something going on, and they needed a hero there to combat the evils going on. And so I really, really am hurt by Chad's death. But at the same time, I'm also motivated by it. And I hope the educators who have been following this podcast and who I've had conversations with, many of you have so many different side hustles and businesses going on and things that you want to do financially to put yourself and to put your family in at a better status, at a higher stage, so you can be more effective and more impactful. And that's really that's the gist of Don't Be Dusty, which is the first chapter in the book. And what I mean by that is I wrote this chapter. So what I used to do in my previous district is I was a learning coach. And as a learning coach, I would go into my colleagues' classrooms. I would observe them based on our model we use in Tennessee to evaluate teachers. And it was prepping me for future leadership and letting me get some experience. And also because I am a pretty good teacher, the science and art of it, it allows me to work with my colleagues and share some of my tips and tricks and different things that I see. And I received, I learned things from watching them as well too. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. I know not too many schools offer that for their educators, which is unfortunate. And I know now with us in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, that's the last thing on our minds is observations, right? Teacher evaluations, like no one really cares about that now. We're just focused on keeping everybody healthy and trying our best to provide high quality education for these students, whether they are physically at our school or many of them are at home trying to learn remotely. So that's the focus. So as I'm watching this teacher, great teacher, veteran teacher, has taught almost twice as long as I have. And she's one of those teachers that teaches everything, right? Like science, English. I think she's even taught math before. She's had a leadership role. She's done a lot. She's done an absolute lot. And I respect her. We have a great relationship. And so, of course, I didn't name her in the book, but she's dusty. And what I mean by that is she just doesn't. So she's a mildly attractive woman, but I mean, like her hair is like, it looks like it needs to be shampooed some days. Her clothes aren't, and I'm not saying that we have to go out and buy Versace and, all of this, Tom Ford, all of this expensive designer stuff, Louis Vuitton. We don't need all of that stuff, right? Like we just don't need all of that stuff. But you should be able to clean up nice. I will say that. And I also will say consistency matters. So regardless of how much you're spending on your wardrobe or your outfit, just look presentable, keep your hair done, keep your nails, clipped if you're a guy. If you're a girl, keep your, if you're a woman, keep your nails relatively trimmed and done and pedicured and all that stuff, manicured. Just look, you're a professional, look professional. And, for educators, you always hear we don't make enough money, right? And it just seems like in my 10 years in this business, I have seen, and education is a business, so I said that very intentionally. In this business, people have a broke mindset. And I'm confused whether you came in like I came in, which was through the New Teacher Project and the Teaching Fellows Program. So education wasn't my first career choice. And actually, I actually started out in banking and stopped that and went back to school and studied psychology. It wasn't my first choice, but God revealed to me this was it. He led me on this path, right? And I still have a mission and a vision and a purpose that I'm driven by. So I'm not necessarily driven by dollars. I'm driven by purpose. But we also live in a capitalistic society, in which case, especially if you have a family or if you have a kid or kids or a significant other that you want to marry or or you're married already, whatever the situation may be, it's expensive to live. I live in Memphis, Tennessee, where the cost of living is significantly low. And that's why I'm still in Memphis, Tennessee, post-divorce. Because this will allow me not only to be close to my children, but also it allows me the opportunity to do what I need to do, eliminate all debt, and build some serious wealth. Some serious wealth. And for many teachers, especially if you went through a 4-year program, and I'm a graduate of Tennessee State University in Nashville, right? HBCU. Most of the students who studied education as an undergrad there did not finish in 4 years. They finished in 4.5. They finished in 5. It's like they had extra credits they had to earn in order to get their certification and take and successfully pass their praxis exams so they can be a licensed certified educator and earn their bachelor's degree. So you go through 4.5, 5 years knowing you want to be in education, you become an educator, and then now you're in a teacher's lounge screaming, "Woe is me. I am broke. I need money. I can't eat that. You must be rich. Oh, you go to Starbucks every day. Oh, you must got money. I couldn't possibly afford that. I make my coffee at home and I buy the cheapest coffee possible. It's disgusting, but I'm addicted to coffee and I need to drink it, but I can't afford to drink anything better." All I hear, especially early in my career, all I've heard were complaints about financial lack of success. Teachers act like they're impoverished. Now, I do know in some states, thinking of certain parts overall in general, in Arkansas, and of course I'm in the South. I'm from the Midwest, but I'm in the South. In Mississippi, I even remember getting a job offer for a non-traditional school district, in which case they dealt with students with emotional disturbance. And the students lived there on campus. And the students received treatment from psychiatry to therapy, and they needed an actual education system there because these students couldn't participate in the regular school. At the time, I had a master's degree, and they offered me $24,000. I can't write $24,000 down on a piece of paper, let alone accept or hear a job offer for $24,000. And mind you, I have 3 degrees now and I spent a year in the doctorate program and did a bunch of other things and grasped a few accolades along the way. $24,000. So my first point of advice is mindset. You have to have a growth mindset. You have to have a mindset of abundance. What's the interpretation? Was that Proverbs 23:7? What does it say? As a man thinks, so is he. As a woman thinketh, so is she. You have to have a mindset of abundance. You have to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You have to be able to not only look at yourself as being purpose-driven as an educator, but you have to also look at yourself as an entity and a commodity and an asset. That's how I came into teaching, having never taught before. But because I knew my content so well, because I lived it, I knew I was more than just a teacher. And I don't say that to be offensive, but to be frank and to be honest. So how I organize the first chapter, it's broken down into, okay, you need a growth mindset. You need to stop looking dusty. The problem is teachers feel like they don't have enough money. So obviously the solution is we'll go get some money. And again, this next book I'm coming out with, that's all I'm talking about. It's finances for educators. That's it. I'm not talking about anything else. This is my motivation. This is part of my purpose. So we all have our first stream of income. Obviously, you're a licensed, certified teacher, unless you work at a charter school. And if I ran a charter school, I would not be hiring teachers who weren't licensed or certified. That's just me personally. No disrespect to anyone who that might apply to you, but I just wouldn't do it. But the mentality you should have regarding your first stream of income, your career, your vocation, you're driven to education for whatever reason. Hopefully it's for a higher calling. At least that's my case. Can't speak for everyone. But you also, again, need to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You need to be smart. We live in a capitalist society. You need to have a hitman's mentality. Let me explain. So with a hitman's mentality, you are a hired gun. One of the main reasons I left my previous district, where I was treated as I should have been treated, like a king, like the utmost professional, which I was and still am, is because I deserved more money for what I can do in the classroom. I was severely overworked in my previous district. As an apex gifted teacher, not only was I responsible for being highly effective teaching English language arts to 3 different grade levels, but I also was a case manager for those students with IEPs. So I had to run meetings and do paperwork. And also, as I mentioned before, with the observations that I was doing, I was a learning coach. I also did homebound teaching, in which I went to the school district, met with kids who, for whatever reason, couldn't go to school anymore in a traditional sense, and I helped high school kids with their work. Oh, and I did after-school tutoring. So I was severely overworked and underpaid in that particular role, or roles, I should say. So I established a hitman's mentality. And so with a hitman's mentality, there are different districts, charter schools, charter school networks, private schools, where you can use your content expertise. What you're doing right now, you might have to drive an extra 5-10 miles every day, like I have to now. But I'm paid more than what I was getting before, which is significant enough for me to make that move. And I'm going to encourage you, wherever you live, whatever state you're in, I need you to have some flexibility. Whether you have a family or not, you owe it to your family. You owe it to yourself. Now, typically those districts or charter schools, charter school networks, private schools that pay more, they want the best of the best. So when I say you have a hitman's mentality, that means you have mastered this. You're a sniper. Okay? Those state assessments, that's the bad guy. That's the villain. Those standardized tests, those are the villains. We know the number one indicator for student achievement is with us, the teachers, the educators. You are the biggest indicator for students to reach achievement and growth academically. So you deserve to be paid. Let me be candid, because I'm in the leadership program for my licensure to be an administrator. So let me be candid. Teachers should make more than anyone. They should make more than the superintendent. They should make more than principals, assistant principals. They should make more than all of them. And about that mindset thing, when's the last time you heard a principal complain about being broke? I've been doing this thing for 10 years. Technically, I've been in it for 11. Started out as a teaching assistant. I have never heard a principal complain about money. Ever. And that's why you get teachers who barely have classroom management let alone any effective pedagogical strategies or success. They've been in a classroom for 2, 3, maybe 4 years, and they're trying to jump and get their admin's license and an additional degree. Nothing wrong with the additional degree or even the licensure, but man, I feel like you need a little bit more experience. You need a little bit more seasoning in that classroom before you decide to lead a school. Just my opinion. But that's because they don't want to be broke. Again, mindset. So that's my first recommendation for your first stream of income. Go find a school, a district, a charter school, a private school, someone who is going to pay you more. It more than likely won't be still what we are actually worth, right? But it's significantly more than what you made prior to. You deserve that. Don't just stay in a district or a school because you're comfortable there. You're a big fish in a small pond. That was my experience the past 5 years. I didn't want that. I want to be uncomfortable. I want to be challenged. I want to teach a different demographic of students. I want to be around different colleagues who maybe we don't mesh immediately or at all, period, because they have one way of thinking, and when it comes to teaching and learning and how this educational thing is successful, and I have a totally different one. I feel like mine's is right because, it's been successful, it's been effective, and mine's is based in research and purpose. How do you beat science and God? I don't know. But I'm always open-minded. I'm always willing to learn. And even though I have a hitman's mentality where I know what I know, and I know I'm effective in that classroom, I also know I can learn more. I'm coachable. No year is the same. Look at the school year. No year is the same. You have to have that mentality. So the other things I document in the first chapter with that first stream of income is, in the summertime, Teach for America and other residency programs, the New Teacher Project, and there's so many different programs out there to get college graduates who didn't major in education into teaching, right? They need experienced, licensed, certified, effective Black educators to teach prospective teachers, and they pay well. And normally that's during the summertime. Now, I know COVID-19, pandemic, I understand. But those entities, those organizations are million-dollar organizations. So they're still in business, just like our schools are still open, right? We're just doing things from in a non-traditional, unorthodox manner, but they still need people. So I would encourage you to explore those opportunities to increase, again, your first stream of income. Really, this is just like piggybacking on your original income because it's still, effectively teaching. I also mentioned coaching. I feel like coaching is a terrible trade-off in time because you've got to pick kids up, drop them off, watch game film, go to coaching camps. You got a bunch of stuff that you have to do, practices every day or every other day, depending on the sport. It's just too much work. It's not worth it unless your bigger goal is to be a coach at a higher level in college or in the NBA or NFL or professional sports. Tutoring, again, I mentioned I did tutoring. If you work at a Title I school, after-school tutoring does pay you more. And also, as I mentioned before, I was a learning coach. There are some schools that have master teachers, department heads. I would always inquire and push against my school if you have those roles and you're not getting paid a stipend, because that's additional work for you to do, right? Your contract you sign, if you're a classroom teacher, is for you to be a classroom teacher. All that other stuff, you're just doing it to pad up your resume. Cool. Give me a stipend. I mean, the stipend's not going to be a significant amount anyway, but you need to get paid. I'm just being honest. We're not interns. You're grown. With grown adult responsibilities financially, You're responsible for other people's lives, not just your own. Please get paid. Stop doing work for free. Stop it. And this is coming from someone who is very spiritual and driven by purpose, but I'm also not an idiot. Don't let these companies, don't let these schools, these organizations, these nonprofit organizations, don't let these people use you for your expertise and your skills, and you're being burnt out because once you quit or get fired or whatever the situation may be, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be somebody in your spot, and life is going to continue. Life is going to go on. So you have to go get your money. Not only do you need to have a hitman's mentality, or what I say, entrepreneurial mindset, growth mindset, start looking at yourself as if you are a bank. You live in abundance. I'm so serious about that, guys. What's it say in the Bible? It says something about we were designed to be the lenders and not the borrowers. How many of us are living in debt? Look at your net worth. Let's get rid of this debt. Let's get rid of it. We don't need it. It wouldn't be so bad earning a teacher's salary, regardless of how much you make and how long you've been teaching, whether that's anywhere from $35,000, brand spanking new teacher, or you're making $70,000, $75,000. You're a seasoned veteran, you got your degrees, got your plus 45, all that good stuff, and you're getting paid. And I hope this isn't controversial, but that seasoned veteran who's been teaching for 20 plus years or 15 plus years and making $75,000, they're still underpaid, guys. Underpaid. You look at an investor who's been investing for 15, 20 years, you think they make $75,000 a year? A corporate exec, an accountant, they've been doing that for 15, 20 years, and they are just now hitting 70, 75,000? Nope. They don't appreciate us. And I'm not saying because they don't appreciate us, get out of the industry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there is a way you can do what you love to do, which is why you listen to podcasts like this. You can do what you love to do, what you feel driven to do, and you can still get your money. Let me continue. You need a second stream of income. This is the easiest. Get a part-time job. I've been working a part-time job for 6 years. You can't depend on one place, one source for your income. Get a part-time job. Find a flexible part-time job, whether you're driving a Lyft or an Uber or delivering pizzas. We have call centers now who are looking for people to work from home, part-time hours. Yeah, you might have to sacrifice your weekends. You might have to sacrifice some days you would have had, off from school, but you'll still have to go in the evening working at your part-time job, And then you're not in that that herd of educators who scramble every single summer looking for extra income. You don't have to, because you already have a part-time job. It's year-round. People are surprised. They think I just sell cars, which is my part-time job, during the summer. I said, no, I do this all year long. I'm trying to make extra money all year long. And that money has a purpose. That money gives my kids a certain type of lifestyle. That money gives me a certain type of lifestyle. That money lets me save. That money lets me pay off debt. That money lets me invest. And we'll talk about investing at the very end here. But get a part-time job and start using that money to build an extra cushion, to build up your savings, your emergency savings account, which should technically be, I know they say 1,000 is recommended by Dave Ramsey, but if you listen more intently to what Dave Ramsey says, he said 1,000 is the start. You should be building up 3 to 6 months of savings in case you lose your job. So you need some cushion. I know you are tired. I know what we do is difficult. I know we have to wake up early. I know it can be draining, but you need a part-time job. Again, I'm talking to everyone. If you are a brand spanking new teacher, your first year, all the way up to the 20-year plus veteran, you deserve more money. You chose this field knowing that it was going to be underpaid. I'm not taking any excuses. And I'm talking to myself. I live this. I'm not just writing about it and saying, hey, guys, teaching is so rewarding and it's great, and I know you're underpaid, but nah, we knew exactly what this was when we got into it, but we still went into it because we were driven by something higher, something more valuable than money. But that doesn't mean you don't still get your money. Think about it for a second, guys. Seriously. You are the most intelligent professionals on this planet. Your work you do on the daily has produced an entire economy. Doctors don't exist without us. Lawyers don't exist without us. Actors and actresses don't exist without us. All the money they say is in the IT field, and I guess right now healthcare, especially with the COVID-19 going on, they came from us. We embedded those arithmetic and literacy skills and numeracy skills and thinking, communication skills. That came from us. So how can we birth something that makes more money than us? Please make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. So I don't care about your boo thing, your bae, your husband, your wife. Yeah, you may have kids. And that's really the difficult part, right? It's like figuring out the arrangement with kids. Like, I'm divorced, and that's still a struggle. Like, I lose some money by the fact that I can't be at my part-time job as much as I should be at my part-time job to make more money. But I'm a father as well. And so for those of you who have kids, you know, that's a balance that you're gonna have to, it's trial and error, but you'll get it. You'll get it. We're learning. And for those who don't have kids, oh, you really don't have no excuse. Get another job. Get a part-time job, something you enjoy doing. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy talking, hence podcaster. So I got into car sales. And I wanted something that wouldn't limit me. So for some people, it's cool. You want to get you a job, I'd say what will be worth it? $12, $13 and up, depending on what part of the country you live on, right? Will be worth it as extra additional income. For me in the South, me in Memphis, Tennessee, extra $15 an hour is great. Full-time, $15 an hour is $30,000 a year. Part-time, we'll assume that's an extra $15,000 a year, right? Oh yeah, I know my math very well. As an English teacher and writer, I know that math. When it comes to money, I learned math very well. So get you a second job. Then let's get into a third stream. Third stream of income, you need to sell your expertise. So I broke that down from time intensive versus passive income. So if it's time intensive, here are some suggestions. You're a subject matter expert. We have magazines, we have newspapers, we have online publications, websites. We have services for hire. We have the self-employment services where they're looking for contractors, where you can literally share your content and get paid for it. You can also start a tutoring business. I know a couple of educators locally in Tennessee. They have very successful tutoring businesses. It doesn't work for me because I put so much into what I do in my classroom, so much effort and time, and just mental fatigue takes over. I could not teach all day and night. That's just me. That's just me. I don't want to repeat my first stream of income with my third stream of income. But for some people, it works out. There are some very successful tutoring businesses out there. Also, after school programs. That's something I looked into probably, 7 years ago? After school programs are really big, especially now with the COVID-19, and you've got kids learning from home, and they probably need some additional intervention and instruction and just clarification on certain ideas. Those teachers aren't available. There is no more tutoring in schools, at least there shouldn't be, not during the pandemic, not during what we're going through. It's too risky. So maybe you can start an after-school program. Maybe that can even be digital. Maybe even with tutoring, the tutoring could be digital. Why not? So keep that in consideration. Also, another thing that I've tried, it didn't work out because every time I try it, they try to hire me to join their faculty. But you can work for another district or charter. There should be nothing in your contract that prevents you from working for a different school district or a charter or a private school. Of course, you're going to have to do it if they have an after-school program or during the summertime. I've applied to, I want to say 2 or 3 in interview for these positions. I did all my interviews were impeccable. Great. They wanted to hire me. But at each place, they wanted to interview me to join their faculty full-time for the next school year or for the current school year. And I said, nope, I'm happy where I am. I'm good. I came here for this particular position. But again, I got into car sales, back to that second stream of income, so my income wouldn't be limited. There is no cap on what I can earn. My income isn't based on, okay, I earn $13 an hour, I work 20 hours a week, we get paid every 2 weeks, I make X amount of dollars. Nope, I didn't want that. Let me work on commission and work my butt off. And if I don't work my butt off, well, then I don't bring home a good check. Simple as that. I believe in myself that much. You should too. So those are some time-intensive opportunities for selling your expertise for a third stream of income. The other one is passive. Passive is so easy. Well, let me correct that. Passive income is not so easy, but passive income, once you put the full effort in the beginning, then you're done with it forever. You know, maybe you still need to market it, maybe you need to, but outside of that, you don't have to do any more grunt work. So the greatest example of that is write a book. You guys got experiences. Even if your book is not related to the education field, it could be related to something else that you have previously worked in, another industry, or a passion that you have. Or maybe you used to play basketball, and now you coach basketball and you teach. Your book can be about coaching basketball. It can be about, maybe you had a chance to, you're on a scholarship and then you blew out your knee and then it changed your entire life, whatever the situation may be, right? Or it could be fiction. You can write poems. Like there's so many different things you can write, but write a book. Make it an ebook, do a paper book, paper copy, paper cover, paperback. That's what it's called. There's even a way to do hardcovers. If you need some advice on doing a hardcover, shoot me an email. theblackscholarsPodcast@gmail.com. You can also, and I've seen a lot of people affected with this online, as they're building up their online platform, they're starting to do online classes. You can teach other teachers. Well, look, and I'm just using teach other teachers as an example, but whatever your other passion is, whether you can do hair, you can braid, you know how to start businesses, you're really good with social media marketing. Like you can, whatever skills you have, you can use those skills to write a book, to teach other people through online classes, and you can have people pay for those classes, whether it's a one-time access fee for the class or it's a monthly subscription and you're constantly updating that content. That's up to you how you want to organize that. Udemy, I mentioned that in the book. That is a platform that will help you create online classes. Of course, they get a cut. Of course, it's a business. They get a cut of your profits, but it makes it extremely easy for you to create your own classes. That's going to be the next step for me as building another stream, is to start doing online PDs because I want to help educators, black and brown educators. I want to help them earn more money, which is why I'm writing the next book. But I want to set up an entire program filled with classes on how they can do just that. I also want to help educators start podcasts And so I'm probably going to be doing classes or subscription or consulting fee in order for that to happen. So there are limitless ways, and you can combine these things as well too. But the point is, make more money. Then the last one for passive income, and these aren't the only ways to make passive income, but these are just a few ideas. Of course, teacher pay teacher. You're already creating these special documents and worksheets and PowerPoints and whatnot for your students, especially if you work in ELA. It's so difficult finding good ELA materials. Most of the time, we got to create them ourselves. Or if they're there, we have to revise them for our students and for what we're trying to accomplish. Whether it's a graphic organizer or a lesson plan or whatever it is, a template, put it on Teachers Pay Teachers and get paid. Amazon, I used to sell books, used books on Amazon. Obviously, I sell my books on Amazon, but you can also sell used books, used electronics. If you know a way to get access to electronics or books or different gadgets, widgets for relatively inexpensive, then you might want to look at Amazon. Same thing, if you can get access to discounted prices on clothing, like shoes and whatnot, you can sell literally anything on eBay. Also, you might want to look into a Facebook Marketplace. I know a guy who sells furniture on Facebook Marketplace. All of the furniture is used. He literally scrounges through Facebook Marketplace and I guess Craigslist and whatever else and finds certain furniture pieces. He cleans them up, makes them look brand new, and then he sells them. And he sells them for a significant profit. It's a nice hustle. Also, Etsy, if you're into art, if you can make jewelry, cosmetic jewelry, Etsy is also a good platform. Again, these are just a few ideas. But again, when you think of your third stream of income, you want to balance between time intensive, which is going to be selling your expertise very directly, and also passive. Create a product or a service that you can literally be asleep and it makes money. The other one that I didn't put in the book, I'm just going to say it right now, podcasting. Podcasting can be a profitable business once you build up your actual platform. Once people begin to trust you and they like you and like your content and like your guests and you're consistent. Podcasting can give you money. There's Patreon. You can sell merchandise. Again, going back to writing a book. If you write a book and you have a podcast, well, you have a platform already. So that's like a twofold. Like, hey, this is the purpose of this podcast in a book. Take it and continue crafting more content, book-wise and content-wise on your audio podcast and YouTube and whatnot. And you can make money off of YouTube. You can make money off of merchandise. You can make money off of books. Before coronavirus, there were podcasts doing live events. Now I think they're starting to transition to live streams, but they're charging people for it. Again, if you get a loyal tribe, a fan base that knows you're genuine and you have a good rapport with them, there's an opportunity for that. So podcasting is definitely, I guess podcasting could be either time intensive or passive, but I like to think podcasting really is passive if you're in it for the right reason. Because that's just extra money, right? Nobody should be dependent on podcasting money unless you do this full time. And the last stream is the fourth stream, which is, and actually this one, they said the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So there is a way through everything that I mentioned in the first chapter of Don't Be Dusty of how you can create 7 streams of income if you really break it down. But the fourth stream, entrepreneurship. I've got a publishing company. Again, I have 2 podcasts. I have several books. I've got merchandise. I've got content. I've got an LLC behind me. So even with the entrepreneurship, it can save you money on taxes. So now you're talking about saving your wealth. So again, go back to that first stream of income. You're making 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, however many thousands you make just from teaching. If you start your own business, whether that's a DBA and you have an EIN, which is basically like a business's social security number, and you can apply for that with the IRS, irs.gov for free, or you create an LLC, and what you can find out how to do that locally through your local small business administration, or you can hop on LegalZoom.com and let them do it. But you can build a business, an actual real business, take your time, learn, build it up organically, and you can save money on taxes by itemizing your deductions. You pay mortgage, you pay a rent. Okay, well, legally in tax laws, you can take a small percentage of the footage of where you live, where you conduct your business, whether that's a room or part of the kitchen or living room or wherever, and you can deduct that as a part of your rent or mortgage, phone bill, light bill, Wi-Fi bill, cell phone bill, all of that. You can deduct that. Travel expenses, magazine subscriptions, like anything that has anything to do with this podcast, from equipment to software to fees I have to pay every month, for my website, for hosting the podcast, the actual episodes. You know, I have merchandise. There's dollars that go into creating that, ordering samples, photo shoots. Those are all dollars out of my pocket. But at the end of the year, have all your receipts, all your expenses, keep up with your expenses versus how much money you've earned over the year. Keep that in numbers or a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or, you know, there's different apps for that as well. And report that to your accountant, unless you are your accountant, you do your own taxes, and itemize those. That's how the 1% stays at the 1%. There's not too many people in the 1% that fall out. There's not too many families that fall out because they have learned financial literacy. This is something many of us have picked up later, unfortunately. And this is something that, again, it drives me. It's a part of my purpose. I'm very passionate about it. Educators, we are the smartest professionals on this planet. We will not be broke. Anybody that's riding with me, anybody that's listening to me, anybody that's a part of this community, I will not allow it. We will not be broke. We will not be impoverished. We will live well. We will take vacations. We will buy nice things. We will drive nice cars. We will live in nice homes or apartments. We will. That's just it. We are not settling for less. I'm not settling for less, so I'm not going to let my people settle for less. Absolutely not. Y'all got me messed up. You think I'm this intelligent and I'm just going to sit there and make $40,000 a year? What? What I do in the classroom every single day, it directly influences the youth who become adults and run this country, run this economy. And I get paid $40,000? Y'all got me messed up. If you are in the classroom, whether you care about money or not, because I've met teachers like that, met educators like that, they just don't care about money, cool. But you don't care about money until you don't have money and you want to buy something, you want to do something, or you're behind on this or behind on that. You just wish, like, man, I should have studied engineering. Man, I should have went to nursing school. We should be able to be in this field with advanced degrees, with all of the work and years and experience that we've put into this, and be well paid. Now, obviously, through our first stream of income, no matter how well we are, quote unquote, paid, we're still going to be underpaid and overworked, right? Let's be honest. But with the hours that we have available in the day, with the 2.5 months where we don't have to physically go into a school building, right? For that little summer that we get, that everyone thinks is so extravagant and lovely. That is our time to grind. I get off of work at 3:15 p.m. Monday through Friday every single day. Even if I devoted only a half of that time, 4 hours, Monday through Friday, to earning additional income, you're telling me and this is going to sound so cocky, I'm sorry, guys. You're telling me, as one of the smartest individuals on this planet, that I can't take an extra, what's 4 times 5? 20 hours? You're telling me I can't make my dreams come to fruition in extra 20 hours a week? That's not even including the weekend. So that's why when people come to me and they say, man, I don't know how you do it. You're an effective teacher. You got your own business. You got a part-time job. You're divorced with 2 kids. You have somewhat of a social life. You're writing books. Man, how do you do it all? You do realize I get off at 3:15 p.m., right? What do y'all think I do from 3:15 until the time I go to bed? I'm not out here playing. We're trying to eradicate generational curses. That's what we are trying to do. Not only are we trying to do it, but we're doing it. We are going to execute. We have no choice but to. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our family. We owe it to our loved ones. We owe it to our friends. We are too innately bright to make $40,000 a year and to suffer financially and not live our best lives. That's that growth mindset I'm talking about. I need you to have that. If you're going to listen to this series, if you're going to be a part of this tribe, you have to have that. And if you don't have that, I'm not going to stop trying to convince you, trying to persuade you. If I have to start showing you bank statements, tax returns, and I'm living what I'm talking. I'm not saying I'm there. I'm not in the 1%. I'm saying through every obstacle that I have faced, financial or not, I have overcome everything because I refuse to quit. I have a growth mindset, and I'm constantly, consistently making moves. Even when I'm not making the moves, hint, hint, wink, wink, passive income, I'm still making moves. And you can do the same. And some of you are already doing it. Some of you are already doing it. So again, entrepreneurship. What's your passion? What skills do you have? What are you interested in? I know so many teachers they're doing eyebrows now. They're doing cosmetic stuff. They're doing makeup. They go to school for that. They get their license or certification for that. I know educators who work for the paramedics. You got to get licensed in that. I think that's an associate's degree, if I'm not mistaken. I know educators who are starting to get in IT. I'm going to be one of those educators eventually when I get a chance to take this coding, start taking these coding classes. But I'll tell you really what I'm doing, and this moves to my last point. Again, still in the fourth stream of income, investments. So for the longest, I have depended on regular investments, 401ks. For educators, most of you have a 403B, I believe it's called. Just because of the nature of the business that we're in. So you have money set aside for retirement, and it's growing and it's growing and it's building, and you need to check it at least once a quarter. But you also need to open up an IRA, specifically a Roth IRA, or both. With the Roth IRA, you can invest $5,500 per year if you are under the age of 50. Okay? Do that every year. Where do I get an extra $5,500, Leonard? What did I tell you to do? Second stream of income, third stream of income. This is your fourth stream of income. Fourth. This is for the future. Okay? But I'm not done now. I'm not done yet. So this is what I'm doing right now. I am starting to get my feet wet with active investing. I am learning the stock market beyond just a general understanding. I am going to take a class. The class I'm going to take is through travel and trade. It's from a former educator who was an assistant principal who has been actively investing for the past 10 years. And she's very, very successful, and her students are successful as well. She has an entire group of VIP students who make, and correct me if I'm wrong, we can fact check this later, but I believe they make $1,000 a day off of the stock market. That's an extra $5,000 a week. Monday through Friday when the market is open? Could you use an extra $5,000 a week? Even if it wasn't $1,000 a day, let's say it was $300 a day. 3 times 5, $1,500 a week. What's that? What's that a month? 6,000? Could you use an extra 6,000 a month? 6,000 over a year. Could you use an extra $72,000 a year? Of course, you're gonna have some tax capital gains on that, right? Yeah, of course. But imagine if you did all of these things. I know it sounds so difficult, but imagine if you, as good as you are at what you do in the classroom, as good as what you do in education, whatever your role is, imagine if you maximize your time. You had a hitman's mentality. You had a growth mindset. You had an entrepreneur's mentality. You were the lender and not the borrower. You were paying off debt. You were saving. You were investing for your future conservatively, and also you were making money right now. So that is my next financial step, is to get into investing, to learn how to trade and make quick profit. And this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? Nobody just goes in the market, makes a bunch of money, and they just continue to make a bunch of money. There are losses attached with that. You have to actually learn this. This is a skill. And this is going to wrap up everything for this podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. But if you feel like at any point through this first chapter, through this episode, as I'm breaking it down, if it feels like I'm speaking a foreign language, if your brain is a bit clouded and you're thinking, all I can do is teach. Let me be candid when I say this. And I'm saying this from the most, from as a humble position as I possibly can. You are very intelligent. You are loved. You are appreciated. God has given you everything you need. But it's up to you to extract it. And the one thing he's given you and me is intellect. You can learn cognitively. You can process difficult information that a majority of society struggles with. Think about that. So you are capable of acquiring whatever skill you need to acquire. Let me look at my IG really quick, because I posted something on IG that got a lot of positive feedback because it rings true. This is what I said. Educators, start working on profitable, marketable skills like investing, marketing, sales, writing, in parentheses, grant writing, business writing, technical writing, close parentheses, programming, cybersecurity, etc. A major shift is coming. You guys have to get more technical skills. And I'm speaking to myself. Like I said, I want to get into IT. I want to get into coding. That's the way education is going, if you haven't realized it yet. Virtual learning, remote learning, distance learning, whatever you want to call it, whatever new fancy educational phrase we're all going to be using, that new buzzword that's going to change every 6 to 8 months, that's permanent. This is bigger than the coronavirus. We don't know when the coronavirus is going to end. We don't know what other viruses and pandemics might happen in the future. So virtual teaching, distance learning, whatever you want to call it, will always, always be here. And for me, I see opportunity in this chaos. Most people run from the fire. I am running towards it. There is opportunity in that fire that we're all going through right now. Don't run from it. But seriously, we have got to acquire more skills. The more valuable, marketable, profitable, desired skills. And that's why I read. I read so much. I'm selective about what I read. I just subscribe to the Wall Street Journal, print and digital edition, because I used to read it all the time and then I stopped. But because I want to get into investing and learn the market, think about it. We can learn anything at a high level. Once we learn something, we master it. That's what I'm banking on. I'm going to master investing. And as soon as I do, I'm going to show you how I did it. Because that's the type of person I am. Purpose-driven. If it's one word to describe me, you tattoo it on my arm, and I get to pick that word, make it servitude. I'm here to serve. I am here to serve. And in the meanwhile, while I'm serving, I'll be acquiring skills, paying off debt and bills, and building some serious wealth. And I know for some people, they feel like the only way they can get to the bag and still have an impact and still do the right thing and still live their calling is for them to go into educational leadership, or maybe to get a doctorate degree and become a professor and get tenured and work for a big university, a big research-funded university where they can make six figures. Go ahead and do it. We don't have to have the same path, and I'm not even advocating that. I just want you guys to never rely on one source of income, to try to earn as many streams of income consistently as possible, specifically passive, and we have got to get active in this investment game, conservatively and risky. We need to be making money now from our investments, and we need to be making money that's going to last us a lifetime. Actually exceed our lifetime. Again, generational wealth. I hope you guys love this episode. I'm going to leave show notes. I'm not sure if I did it last time on last episode, but I want your opinions. I want your comments. I want your questions. We're going into this series. I'm going to be doing a lot of giveaways. I got books coming. I'm going to be passing them out. I have merchandise coming. I'm going to be sending them to your home address, or I'll send it to your work so you can show your coworkers how to not be dusty. Anyways, I love y'all. I want y'all to stay safe. I know you're doing an excellent job in this new teaching paradigm that we're all in. Continue to practice self-care and know that you are not alone. You are part of a bigger tribe, and we're here. We are here, and we're not going anywhere. I love y'all.
What can I say? Mamba out.
Thank you for listening to the Black Scholars Podcast. For more information, go to blackscholarspublishing.com.
You just gotta go. You will never know what you could ever be if you never try. You will never see. Stayed in Africa, we ain't never leave. So it wasn't